Alrighty, so the only materials you'll need is a hula hoop, a smaller ring, some macrame cord. I've got 4 millimeter, but I also might use 3 millimeter, and some good scissors. Okay, so you're first going to take your macrame cord, and this is my 4 millimeter, and this hoop is about 27 inches in diameter. Now the customer did request 24 inches, but I had this one on hand, and because it's winter, hula hoops are not really in season, so she gonna get what she gonna get, and I think bigger is always better. So all I'm going to do is take my hot glue gun, dab just a little bit on the and push it down. And I also got this little rubber thimbles to prevent myself from burning myself. And this is from Dollar Tree, and I'm literally just going to now wrap my cord around. The best thing about this method is that you only really need to use the hot glue, or if you have super glue, that would work as well. And you just wrap it until you get to the end of your cord. And it is definitely easier to pre-cut some long strips, and then once you get close to the end, just use the actual spool and just kind of use that and wrap that around as you go, just so you don't end up wasting any. But I had 2 pieces of cord already cut from some previous craft, so I am just going to wrap this around. You definitely can at some point put another dab of glue just to keep everything in place, but I am just going to glue where it starts and where it ends. Alrighty, here we go. Alrighty, so both pieces are covered in their cord. I ended up using this very thin yarn from the Dollar Tree. Actually, I would say it's probably around 1 to 2 millimeters thick, and I used that just to wrap around my metal circle here. And once again, the 4 millimeter is wrapped around the hula hoop. So all I'm going to do is measure my diameter in between, and see how long it's going to be just in total. And so I can find my center. Then I'll be able to see how long I will need to measure between both rings. And I am going to assume, at least for this first one, because this will be a trial and error situation, that whatever this distance is, I will need to triple that in the length of my cord, and then fold that in half. And I think that will be enough. So we shall see. Here we go. I'm just going to briefly explain what I'm doing here. So I'm taking my thinnest cord that I have and I'm just tying a knot at the base of the hula hoop to the base of my middle ring, and I did not tie that knot tight enough because I was afraid that it was going to mess up my wrapping somehow, so it actually ended up shifting and then changing the distance, and this is the length of this is exactly the length between both center points. So like this was really helpful, but just make sure that you actually tie a legitimate knot. Don't be scared. Scissors will help you. So there you go. I just realized I never showed y'all what I was making, so right here is a picture of the Dreamcatcher that my client has asked me to commission for her, and this next process is basically the trial and error of figuring out the appropriate lengths in order to make this starburst effect. Okay, so the distance between the outer part of this inner ring and the inner part of the outer ring is about 11.5 inches. So what I did was kind of round that up to about 12. So folded in half, this cord is about 36 inches long. So that's 3 times 12. Now, what I'm hoping that will account for is both the distance it'll wrap over this thin cord, but also the distance it'll wrap over this thicker cord. And now that I think about it a little bit more, I will start with 36 and I will cut one more cord to this and we will do a spiral. So all that is a continuous half hitch knot, but instead of it switching directions, you will just stay in the same one. So I will demonstrate that in just a second. There we go. So both cords are going to come over the top and then under, and your ends are going to go through your loop that you made. Pull it. Okay, and then just wiggle it to where you want it. Trying to make sure that your ends stay as aligned as possible to make sure that in your finished product everything will come out with enough even amounts of cord. Okay. Very good. So now that we've done that, I think it's safe to say that I can snip this bad boy. If you do this, I would definitely advise you to make that snip before you loop it around, just because this is unnecessary extra work. There we go. Get this back in the center. What you're going to do is take your 2 outer cords. I'm going to start with my right cord, and that's going to make a backwards 4. And my left cord is going to come over it to finish it off. Then this cord is going to go under everything. So it goes over my backwards 4, then it goes under my 2 middle cords, under my 4, and through that loop. And then you pull. Now in a typical knot, in a typical half hitch knot, now that there is this line on this side that we made, that would declare that we start on this side to continue the 4, and you would just keep switching sides. But because we want a spiral, we are going to stay doing the same side. So we are going to keep making another backwards 4. So once again, your right cord makes your backwards 4 over your 2 center cords. Your left cord goes over your 4, under the 2 center, and through that hole. And then you pull. And what's going to start happening is this is now going to start twisting. And that's how we're going to get that really cool spiral look. So now you can start with just we're just going to keep repeating this. So enjoy the montage. Okay, so from the point that I am at, I'm about a little shy of halfway, and my working chords, which were my outer chords, are becoming short. I only have maybe about 2 to 3 inches hangover, and I'm going to need some string in order to tie it off at the base. So what I'm going to try to do is invert this by taking now my working chords, which are still very long. It's got about probably like 2 feet left, and now switch those with my outer chords. So here's my outer chords, these little short nubs. Here's my inner chords, these long daddies. I'm going to bring my short nubs to the center, bring my long daddies outside. Once again, make a 4, and this is still a backwards 4. Go under and through. Pull my new middle chords taut. Get that. Just kind of nestle that in there. And then do another one, and we'll see if it's kind of seamless or if it makes like a really big noticeable difference. Because if so, that will let us know to just start over with longer chord. Excellent. Okay, so this is working so much better than I thought it would. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay, so I'm just going to now continue with my shorter chord as my new center and my longer chords as my new outer. And we're going to just keep on making that backwards 4. As you can see, but it worked. So I'm very happy to see that. So right about here, about an inch from the end, once again my chords were getting unevenly worrisome. So I did another switch and just took my center chords and made them my new outer chords, and then I pulled them taut, my remaining strings. I still had probably a couple centimeters left, and I pulled those strings taut right around the edge of my hoop, and I took whatever chords were my longest ones, so it doesn't matter if it crisscrosses, because in the end, once we have all of the bits and bobbles and other hanging pieces, this won't even be noticeable. So if you look close enough, there is a switch. You can see it cross over, but that really doesn't matter. So you just take your longest cords and you do 2 more knots. And what I did was an official half hitch knot. So that means I did my backwards 4 like we've been doing, but then I did my proper way form, and that will give an actual square knot. And that's how we're going to finish it. I'm not sure how this will be cut, so I'm not going to cut any extra strings for now. I'm just going to repeat this same process on the other side. Then on my what are these called? My other 2 quarters, I guess, because we're making a pie. And then I think we'll check in and see how many more strands we want to make off of this. Basically, it's like a sunburst. So I will see y'all when we have 4 quarters. And I am going to lengthen my original cord just so it's not so difficult. I think it is wise to still keep switching just to make sure that you have enough cord to work with. So instead of 36 inches, let's go with 50. Let's go with 50 inches. I think that will be good. And I think I'll be able to do a continuous knot before having to switch for a little bit longer. So let's go with 50, but you just always want to be cautious as you're working and be aware of how much string you still have as your working pieces, which are your outer ones, as compared to your center pieces, and switch when you need to. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, we got our 4 points, and now I am just working on the 5th, and this is relatively a simple process in the sense that it's just the same knot over and over again. However, the difficulty comes into play when you're really trying to get it to be symmetrical. So remember that this project is going to take a good amount of your time, possibly a couple days or just a 1 full day. I know today's actually Super Bowl Sunday, so I will be leaving for my mom's in about an hour. So I obviously will not be able to finish this today, and I only did the ring yesterday because of my sister's birthday. So if you see this, happy birthday, sister. But I just want you guys to know that this is definitely more of a time-consuming project, not necessarily requiring many skills. It's definitely a beginner, but it's gonna take some time. So once I looked at the picture one more time, there were about 27 of these individual sunbursts, and I know that the dimensions of that was much smaller than what mine is. And because I'm using such a thick cord, I do not think I'm actually going to even have space for 27, and that sounds like a lot. If I can avoid doing 27 but still getting a similar look, that's my goal here. So let's do some counting, shall we? If we've got 4, I'll do 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then looking here, it looks like I can fit 2 more. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So in total, I will have 16 bursts with my 4mm cord. And I tried initially for the length, the 36 inches gave me that nub. Then 42 inch, actually sorry, then I did 50 inches and I got a lot of hang time. So I think this will be my end just because I don't want this to be wasteful. So this will go into that bottom part where you see all of the cords dripping. The cords dripping, that's a strange phrase. Anyways, then I tried 42 inches and I ended up with that. So there's a little bit of a nub, about 2 inches long, but then the rest are still about 3-4 inches. And I think I did that twice. And now this last cord that I cut is 40 inches long. So to be more cost effective, just so that you're not using up so much cord and there's not a lot of waste. And I do save my cords if they're long enough. And if not, I do, if they're just really thin, straggly scraps, they go into the garbage. But if they are of anything of substance, I do try to add it to my bag of recyclable fabrics. H&M takes your old clothes and they recycle them, so I usually toss these into the bag if I can't use them for a different project, like if they're just not long enough. So yes, so 16 bursts all around, and we're gonna I think 40 inches is going to be good. I'll see how much is left over, but all my measurements will be in the description box below, so if you are interested in making this, you will be able to have a better description, as I am still trial and erroring. But yeah, so I will see y'all when this is all completed, which will probably be tomorrow. So see you then. Bye-bye. Okay, my dudes and dudettes, so your girl did not record anything else, or if I did, I don't know where that content is. Yeah, no clue. So I'm just gonna replay this little clip again while I tell y'all things that have happened. So, like I mentioned, this piece has already been sold, therefore I cannot insert any missing pieces, like finishing the actual piece, but I will put a picture here, bing, once again, with what the inspiration was. Now, the client wanted this to be a very simple replica. They did not want any feathers or beads, which I was very happy with. All I did after finishing out my 16 sunbursts, I just tightened each knot that I made, each square knot that's on the outer part of the ring, outer part of the hula hoop, just as tight as I could. Then I snipped it as close as I could to the knot, so it wasn't too nubby looking. Like, we wanted a short nub, not a long nub. Then from there, all I did was do a, this one might be the half hitch knot. If I'm wrong, then I will insert the actual right name here, of knots, just to loop the hanging cord off of the words are failing me, off of the bottom of the Dreamcatcher. Yes. From there, I finished the piece to look like this, and I sent this picture to my client, and she was like, you know, I like it, I love it, but could there be more strings? So I then attached more cords on the sides, and this is what the end piece looked like. I'm very pleased with this. This was a super fun project, and as I'm editing this, I really wish I had another hula hoop because I want to make another one. This is just fun. This was a really fun project, and I'm so thankful that this client has asked me to just do this for them, because win-win for everybody. Sorry to interrupt the reveal, but I figured it was just easier for me to finish out this video here. So yes, I ended up selling this piece for $60, and because this person was local, I could meet them and drive it to them, so I did not have to worry about any type of shipping. I don't even want to know what it would be like to ship that. That seems terrible. But regardless, in the future, I would definitely charge more for this. I charge $60 because the larger macrame pieces that I have made semi-similar to this are starting at $60. Then from there, my prices go up. And I did not know how much time and material would go into this project, and it was far more than $60. Yes. So I'm thankful to her. I did not change the price on her because I'm just thankful that I, number one, had that opportunity, because I would have never made that if it wasn't for her. I also have now a new client that's someone I don't know. I really love selling to non-family and friend members just because it makes me feel like, okay, some stranger actually appreciated what I made. So win-win. But yeah, for that piece, if I were to do it again, from the several days that it took, mostly because I only had time to spend an hour or two working on it per day, I would probably charge minimum 95. I really want to say 100 is my minimum. If I had to then add in the beads and the feathers, I would probably go up to like 110, 115. Just because it is time consuming, and because I had a lovely little conversation with Exo McKenna via Etsy. She let me know, like, you really do need to incorporate the time that it takes you to do something, and also the time and the amount of money that it takes for those materials. And so factoring my time and like paying myself for the work plus paying myself to cover those materials, it's not cheap, y'all. These factories that are spitting out these $15 huge macrame pieces, like, you're getting them because some poor child has no nubs and has been creating this for you because they are basically slaves to the system. And when you really put in the time and effort it takes to make a large macrame piece, it's nowhere worth $15. I dare somebody to come at me and be like, can I give you $15? No, ma'am. Until you learn how to do this yourself, I need my monies. Sorry, that was a whole rant. So yeah, back to the project. Was fun, time consuming, lots of material. I basically used up an entire roll of macrame, and I get my rolls from Amazon. I'll link it down below, and it's like 300 something feet in a roll. But I also kind of mixed up when it came to the hanging pieces. I also added in some of my 3mm cord, which I will also link that in the link below. Just because I did not want to use up all of my 4mm. I was like, I don't know how long this is gonna stretch me. So I just kind of mixed up, and I also undid, well, you can untwist your cord. I did that partially. So like the lowest hanging cords, they got the least amount of untwist, and then as they ascend upwards, I did more and more untwisting. So that was just my little spin on it. But yeah, I think that's it. I charged 60. If I did this again, I would charge 95 minimum. Adding in feathers and beads. Number one, takes time because beads do not go through, like, the thread does not go through beads as easily as you want to believe. It is so hard. It's so much technical work getting a freaking string through a bead. Okay. And then you just have to pay for them. Plus paying for the feathers. So it's like, you really got to factor in all those things. But yes, I think I'm done rambling and babbling. What? Okay. I think that's it. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this because I have enjoyed making it. So, have a blessed day. Stay well, social distance, wear your mask, and keep 6 feet away from everybody. Okay, bye-bye.